Hi, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're so excited to do this webinar with brow lamination, working with just the strip products. My name's Trinnie, and we have Wendy on with us today. See here. So we just kind of want to go through a couple housekeeping items before we get started. On the side panel there, you have a mute and unmute button. That's that little microphone. During this webinar, I think the feature is off, so you don't really have to worry about that. If you have a question, please raise your hand and then we can stop and check the chat box. We do have some handout materials for you. They're under the download handout section, that little bubble with the question mark. And then D, we have an area for you to write your questions. So it's our chat box. So what I would love everybody to do right now is maybe type where they're from, or if you want to put your zodiac sign in, that's my favorite part, or both. We're good with all of that. We just want to make sure that you're able to see the chat and insert questions there. Yay! So we have California, Boulder, ooh, Libra Sun, cool. North Carolina, hi Sherry, Doris, San Francisco, Texas. We can't see you on this one. Yeah, the cameras are off. Georgia, awesome. Love this. Ooh, an Aries, awesome. Janice, Virgo. We have Arizona. Hi, Erica. Awesome, great. So use this area throughout the presentation. If you have questions about anything, we don't want you to forget them. We want to make sure to get to all of them at the end. So just make sure that you don't forget them and you enter them in the chat for us. Great. Tessa, so cool. Thank you for doing that. We love to see where everyone kind of tunes in from during our webinars. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So my name is Trinnie. I am an on-staff esthetician and educator at the Colorado office here at Alexander's. And then next to me in this slide is Tiffany, who is an educator and on-staff esthetician at our California office. So Tiffany is always available as well. She specializes in wax and a lot of different other things, sugaring. So between the two of us, if you ever need support or have questions about products that we offer, please reach out. If we don't have the answer, we will find somebody who does. We have really good relationships with our vendors, and we are always here to help and be a resource. So yay! Here is our family tree at Alexander's. There is all of us down there at the bottom. Some of us are at the Colorado location on the left, and then we have some of us on the right that are at California, and then Amy right in the middle, who's just kind of helping both of us, both of our locations, and really amazing. So Alexander's Aesthetics, just a little bit about us, is a family-run business. We've been around for 30 years. Alexander's Aesthetics was started by Wendy's cousin, Wendy's dad's cousin, and her mom took it over and has been running the California location, and then Wendy opened up our Colorado location. But it's really awesome because they strive to keep their cousin Alex mission and values still very important to us to keep those going. So we only sell to licensed professionals, which helps protect us as estheticians and also our field. We're a wholesale distributor for wax, skincare supplies, brow and lash supplies, all your back bar disposables and tools. We have PPE, sugaring supplies, and I feel like a lot more than that as well. We have education, such as these webinars. We have customer service for all of our products. We are doing online paid education. We're getting our classes rolled out more and more. And then we're going to try to get our in-person classes started as soon as COVID permits and we can be safe together again. So we have no minimums, which is great. Free shipping on all online orders over $150. And we do drop shipping to your clients. Just when you make the order, there's a little box for you to click for that. So you just click that box, and then we can drop ship, and that means your invoice is not included. And we have curbside pickup at the Colorado location and at the California location. Cool. So let's talk about brow lamination. So what is brow lamination? Brow lamination is a way to enhance what you naturally have on your brow. So everybody wants these big, beautiful eyebrows, and sometimes we don't have that fullness. So a brow lamination can really give the illusion that we do. It's painless, and you don't have to do permanent makeup or have a long-term commitment to it, which, you know, some of us just have commitment issues to big things like this. So it's just a service we can offer that's semi-permanent. It will last 4 to 5 weeks on them. It's basically a perm for the eyebrows. It's going to lift them, set them, and then they're going to stay in this. It gives a very uniformed shape for an extended period of time. Perm and the neutralizer solution help the brows stay brushed up and lifted for, like I said, 4 to 5 weeks and sometimes 6, depending on how well they're taken care of at home. So the new brow lamination trend creates volume and fullness in the brow. And then on the side here, if you just kind of look, these are the different looks that we can achieve with a brow lamination. So the soap brow, which, just in case you didn't know, is named that because in the 1920s, they used to use a soap bar to achieve this look. So that's what we are replicating now as estheticians, doing this. The laminated look, which is a little bit more uniformed, and then the fluffy or feathered brow, which just gives that nice, beautiful thickness. Awesome. So here are some before and afters. This is more of that laminated look, and then here we have the soap brow. So definitely a different look for a lot of us who are like, oh God, we don't remember that ever being a trend. Well, this is definitely coming in, and just even looking around on like different social media platforms, it's just such a big trend right now. So it's a great service to learn. So getting your client prepared for a brow lamination. Do you need to do it? Yes. All of our services, we want to make sure that we have our client well informed. We educate them how to come in, and that just helps set us up for success and then them as well. So I always ask my client to come in makeup free. That just helps kind of shorten the service because we're not there trying to get brow pencil off their eyebrows. I make sure to have them pre-read and sign the consent form just because that gives me a chance to review it to see if they have anything that might contraindicate the service. If they are more on the sensitive side, I can then look at that consent form and say, ooh, maybe you should come in and we can patch test about a week prior to your service. And if you decide to patch test, my biggest advice is just maybe try to get them in either before a lash lift or after a lash lift, so you don't have to open a whole package just to test. So maybe just squeezing a little bit out of your package and then setting it on the side so that it doesn't cross-contaminate anything, but you're also able to not have to waste the whole product. Remind them that they won't be able to wet their brows 24 hours after the service. This just gives them the opportunity to plan around the service so that they don't go to the gym, or they're not going to be going to the sauna. They're not going to be exposing their brows to heat or a lot of water, because the vulnerability of movement is still there, and we want to make sure that they still keep their brows in place prior or post service. So how does it work? A brow lamination works by softening and then re-strengthening the natural eyebrow. So step one, which is your like the perm cream or the lifting product, breaks down and softens the disulfate bonds, forcing the brow to surrender its natural shape and take on the shape of kind of whatever we manipulate them to look like. And then step two comes in and it strengthens the bond. So we've softened it, and now we're going to re-harden that hair to restore it, and then it kind of locks the shape in place. Then we use a keratin booster, which is going to help condition and rehydrate the brow so that we're putting nutrients back into the hair. So what do we expect while doing this service, or how can we explain to our client what we're doing during the service? So first of all, a brow lamination takes about 45 to 60 minutes. That depends if you're adding in a tint, are you waxing the brows? So different things that can cause that to be a little bit longer. It's a 3-step system. So we have our step 1, step 2, so the perm solution, the neutralizer, and then the keratin boost. And then if you tint, then obviously step 4. It can last up to 5 to 6 weeks. And then prepare for your processing time. This meaning you have time in between when you do a brow lamination, because you have processing time frames, and they can take from 10 to 15 minutes. So you just have to think about how to utilize that time. You can do an upcharge to your service. So if you want to do like a lip treatment and then charge a little additional for it, or if you want to do hand and arm massage, if you want to do a scalp treatment during this, you could also do lip wax or any of that type of service, because you're able to have a little additional time within there. Awesome. So let's talk about who will love a brow lamination. Who are we able to give one to? So those who want to wake up and not have to spend a lot of time fussing with their eyebrows, they'll already be kind of be set in place and tinted. Those who have a really thin eyebrow that want that thicker, fluffier, bolder look. And then even those who have those beautiful natural thick eyebrows, who just desire a more like a uniformed or fluffy look as well. And then those who may not, like I said, want commitment. So they might not want the permanent makeup aspect of it. We can offer something to them as well. Who might not be able to get a brow lamination? So this is why it's important to have your consent form before your service, just to make sure that none of these things apply to your client. So we want to make sure that they don't have any brow or skin infections going on that we could maybe trigger, or the product would bother. Pregnant or nursing clients, we don't recommend doing this service. And then, of course, our oncology patients, we want to make sure that we're taking care of them and also what they naturally have right now, and supporting their different stages of where they might be with oncology at the point. And then if there's something going on that you might feel a little questionable, just make sure that you patch test your client a week ahead of time. So if you're doing a brow lamination, there are home care products that you can retail. Let's see, for your client. So it is nice for us as estheticians to have an option to be able to retail, because that just helps us increase our revenue and also gives a product to send home with that helps with the success of their service. So we have Reflectisil products that support our brow lamination. So the first one is the Care Balm, which is a nighttime formula that helps to support naturally the growth of the hair on either the eyebrows or the lashes. Then we have our color protectant. This I think would be the one I would recommend retailing the most because they can use this to really style up the brows and kind of brush them where they want them. It's a color protectant as well, so it helps the tint last a little bit longer. And then it just does a really great job at conditioning lashes and brows. So when people get lash lifts, this is also another product you can retail. It kind of, to me, feels like a clear mascara that just helps the look. So I really love this. And then if we're working on some brow rehab or lash rehab and we're trying to get their natural lashes back in order or natural brows nice and thick, the lash and brow booster is a great option to kind of help get their thickness back to where they want it. So we are going to be doing a demo, and if you'd like to follow along, we have the instructions in the handouts, or if you want to pull it up on your phone, you can scan the QR code with your camera and then click the little link that comes up and you can follow along on your phone. So just an option for that. Before we get into the demo, I want to talk about how we price our services, especially for brow lamination, because they are a little bit more new to the market. So we want to look at our costs. So how much is it costing us to get this service up and going in our practice? And then really quick, while that's up, I'm just going to bring up the kit so you can kind of see, and this is a good thing to consider while we're talking about calculating costs. So there's a couple options that we at Alexander's carry. We have a Reflectisil brow lamination kit. We're working with just the strip today, so I'm going to bring up their products. But you can purchase the lash lifting kit. You get 10 applications within this. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer for you. So you have your step 1, step 2, the keratin booster, you get the glue, which is awesome, and then silicone pads. So this is the lash lifting kit. So you could do brow laminations and lash lifts with this kit. And then you also get your tool on this side. So the beautiful thing about getting a kit like this, if you do lash lifting, is it helps to add some profit to those lash lifts, because what I've done is I'll do a lash lift and then there's enough product in these little packets, because they're single packets, so you don't have to worry about them going bad if you open them, because they're just single use. So it doesn't really break down the lifespan if it was a tube or something. So there's enough in these packets to do a lift and a lamination. So what I've been doing is just telling my clients, hey, do you want to try a brow lamination while we're doing your lift? And most of them want to try it. So I'll either give them a discounted price, or it just kind of depends, like it's up to you really. And then the other option, if you just want to do brow laminations, just a strip has the it's kind of like their lamination kit and also a refill kit, but it comes with step 1, step 2, step 3, some little mascara spoolies, and then some micro swabs, little doe foot applicator, and then a cute little mascara wand holder. So 2 different options to look at, and those are just different costs that you would consider. How much did my kit cost? If you had to do training, which luckily this one is free. So just kind of looking at that, what are the costs? What is the time that you put into it? And then I look at the market when I'm doing my pricing. So what I like to do is I'll go to Google, our best friend, and type in brow laminations in Centennial, Colorado, because that's where I am located. And when I look at that, I kind of go from those really high-end prices to the really low-end prices. And then I decide, where do I feel comfortable being with the service? Um, and I kind of determine that with like, who are my clients? What are the costs of my other services? Is this something I feel really confident about and that I can charge a little bit more for because I'm a rock star at it? Or is it my specialty? Those options might be reasons you charge a little bit more. Or are you kind of like, oh, this is new, I'm a little shaky on it. Am I at the lower end of this? Or do you want to be right in the middle where you're still competitive, but you're able to make a profit for yourself? And also just knowing your clients and kind of where you're already charging in that high to low price range. And then also considering your time, because your time also is important, and you have to charge for the time that you give to learning and then also doing services. So before we go into the demo, I'm going to check the questions box and see if there's anything maybe that we haven't got to.
I'm going to read them out to you, Trinnie, or?
Yeah, that would be great because I can't.
Okay, yeah, because there are a couple questions. Sherry would like to know if this is something that has to be done laying down, or can it be done in a brow bar setting?
You could do it in a brow bar setting because the liquid isn't going to move anywhere. It's pretty thick in consistency. So if you have them sitting up, it's not going to like drip anywhere. And you're also using a plastic, like a cellophane, to kind of stick on there and hold it in place. So as long as that's not moving, you'd actually be probably fine to have them sitting up.
All right, great. Susanna asked a question on if you can use the same step 1 cream for lashes and brows.
Yeah, so that's the awesome part about this kit, is that step 1, the kit itself is made for both brow lamination and lash lifts. So you use all the same products in these kits for both. So it's kind of great.
Okay, awesome. Janice would like to know, do you apply the tint before or after the keratin booster?
So you're going to apply it, you're going to tint first, and then you'll apply the keratin booster, because once you apply the keratin booster, it kind of locks all of it into place. It's your last step.
Okay, fantastic. And just 2 more. How many applications do you get per kit?
You get 10. So in this kit, along with this kit, both of them have 10 applications. So you get a lot out of the kits, especially if you're doing a lamination and a lift at the same time. You can really get quite a bit of uses out of it.
Okay, fantastic. Susanna also wants to know, is this the same processing time for lashes and brows?
Both of them have the same time frame, so it's either 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the coarseness of their lash, also kind of how much lash they have. And we'll go through that in the demo, like just kind of looking at the lash and how to determine that.
Okay, awesome. I think we should maybe go into the demo. We do have other questions, but I think maybe
Perfect.
we can circle back in, but I want to make sure we have time to get through
Absolutely.
the
Okay,
demo.
great. Perfect. So let me get the Are you still able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, perfect. So really quick, just kind of backing that up, that product was from Refectisil. It's Oops, I
Trini, if
keep
you could,
muted. I'm
there you
so
go.
sorry. There we go.
Okay.
So that product was just to clean her brow. So I'm just cleaning off any makeup that might be in there, any residue from the day, oils, protein, anything like that as we go along. And just really kind of sweeping in the brow, making sure we get all of the different products, whether it's pencil or makeup. Doing your pre-steps is really so important during any service, whether it's lash lifting or brow lamination, because it helps to make the process successful. So the next step that I'm doing here, you can use Vaseline or you can use a skin protectant. I'm using the one from Reflectisil, and basically just going around the eyebrows to protect the skin that we're not putting product on. So I just go around with a doe foot applicator. I really work it into the skin. And I kind of use the doe foot applicator as like a little squeegee to take off any excessive product that I have maybe put on.
We're just getting a couple people saying they can't hear. I can hear Trini fine, but if you guys could just let us know if you're having problems. But here, Trini, I can hear you. You're good on my end.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we get all of the skin protected around the brows. And this might take a little bit of time, just making sure you get everything in all the different areas.
Oh, I
Kind
see
of
what
working
people
it.
are. I'm sorry, Trini, I'm interrupting you. People are saying they can't hear the video. There is no audio to the video. It's Trini talking over the video. So I'm hoping you can hear Trini talking, I guess.
Are they? Do you
I can
think
hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay, so sorry, this step just seems really prolonged because I keep starting and stopping it. And then I brush the brows just to also kind of see at this point, what are we working with here? Are they thinner brows? Are they thicker? What's the length? At this time, I would ask her, are we doing a brow wax as well? For Wendy, and just time's sake of our webinar, we didn't do a brow wax, which her brows needed a little bit of waxing, but like I said, for time's sake, we were just trying to show the lamination product. So right now I'm putting in step 1, and I put it on a mascara wand. I comb it into the brows, and then I really just work the product in. So keep in mind, I did a lot of editing to this video. It went from 1 hour to 15 minutes, just so we didn't have to wait through the processing times. And also just kind of like my slow in betweens. So I'm working the product into the brows. I'm starting to shape up. For Wendy, we're doing a very fluffy, like soap brow. She has a beautiful thick brow. So for her, I decided to do 13 minutes. She probably could have went 14, but I really wanted to be able to kind of go a little bit less because I've never done a brow lamination on her. So what I'm doing now is putting the cellophane on her just to kind of hold the brows in place and kind of combing them up. So when you do a brow lamination, if you're following along with your protocol, every 4 minutes, you're going to come back in and rebrush the brows. So I'm going to pause this really quick just so we can slow down and chit chat a little bit here, because like I said, the video is only 15 minutes, so it kind of goes through quickly. But what we're doing is we put step 1. I decided to now brush the brows into place. We put the cellophane on. We decided to do 13 minutes, so I write down timing is everything in a brow lift and lash lifting. So I write down, I use Wubbies, which are little like paper tray protectants or pillow protectants. I kind of use them for everything. We sell them. They're pretty amazing. But I just write down on my Wubby, right side, 13 minutes. So if I start at 10, I write 10:13. So I know when to. And during my brow lamination, with Wendy, we were 4 minutes different from each brow. So meaning that I started this side at 4, or I'm sorry, like let's say 10 o'clock, and then the other side 10:04. So I've got that one in place, and I really want to just show throughout this, I want you to keep an eye on how her eyebrows were extremely stubborn and then how they started to really flex around and move. And I feel like this video really does a great job of showing how well her eyebrows did move, and really just speaks volumes to how great the product is, and it works so well. So I'm just continuing to brush the eyebrows up, putting them in the place that I want, and getting ready to cover them. And everybody are going to style their brows differently. Wendy's I really had to work with to just get to stand up. And then, reshaping them later was kind of a different part of it. But this was a great person to do this on, because it does show, you have to do some work moving these brows around sometimes because they don't want to surrender that natural shape. So in the comment box, can somebody tell me what step 1 does when we're using it on the brows? So when we apply step 1, what is it doing to the brows? Yes! Yay! You guys got it. Exactly. It breaks down the bonds and softens the hair. Yes. Exactly. So now I'm setting this on, putting it into place, covering it up, and then I've written down my time frames for it as well. And then going back in here in a second and rebrushing the other eyebrow up. Well, I think I was reshaping this one first. Got to do some playing around sometimes. And so now it's been 4 minutes on this side, and I'm going back in and just rebrushing that hair. Start to look at it though, and you'll see it's moving. It's starting to flex around a little bit. So it's starting to move. And then this side, just kind of reshaping it. This is the one side that really was stubborn. So keep an eye like here on this corner, how it just isn't wanting to move around. And we start to flex it as we go and it processes. So now just going in and rechecking, see how the brows are really starting to move now. And this side, this is what I love. You can really see they're starting to finally break down the bond, and they're willing to work with me here. So now I'm removing step 1 by sweeping 2x2 silken upwards, just really getting all of that product out. But take a look at how much her brows have really moved. And now they're, kind of like putty in my hands, which is awesome, because there's been times I've done brow laminations with other products and I was like, darn it, I can't get these eyebrows to stay up. So it is nice when you can finally kind of have that movement to shape them. And so now we go back in with step 2, which if someone wants to tell me what step 2 does in the chat box. Step 2 is the neutralizer. What does step 2 do? Yay. Great job, Denise. Yes. Awesome. So step 2 is going in, and this is kind of where we get to pick the shape because it's going to solidify that. Perfect. So once we get the brows where we like them, then we'll go ahead and cover them back up. So I just kind of flip my plastic inside out so that the first product is tucked away and not exposed to the new product. It's kind of just holding it in place there. Great. So take a look at how well this side has started to move, which I just was so happy. Of course, it was kind of tricky with it, trying to get it into place. This side was definitely one of the harder ones. That little inside corner there was really tough. Took a little extra work there. There we go. And now you see it starts to really flex and move. So that's probably my favorite part of this whole video is just when we were finally able to get that one little area over. So now going back in, removing the product. Look at that movement. That's like the best. That's I'm in esthetician heaven right now with that. So that's exactly what we want the brows to do. We want it to break down that natural form and just allow us to shape. So now step 2 will be put on. And we're re-strengthening that brow there and just kind of setting it into the placement that we want. We did do some like over exaggerating with Wendy's brows, but we did want to just kind of showcase how the product will really just put the eyebrows where we want them. And then recovering them back up. And the processing time for the step 1 is the exact same processing time for step 2. So while step 2 is processing on her, this is usually around the time that I mix my tint and get that prepared. So the same thing with step 2 is that you're going to go back in every 4 minutes and just brush through the brows and pull that product through, shaping as you need. Just make sure when you're doing a brow lamination that you write down your times. Like I said, timing is everything, for sure. Perfect. At this point, you can kind of just start to move them around. I love that you can really just see how much they've kind of surrendered and they're setting. They're really giving that laminated look. With Wendy, we probably didn't need to do tint for her because she has nice thick brows. We did do it just to kind of show the tint. We didn't do the tinting process, just kind of the after part of it. So removing the product from both eyes, and then we'll do our tint here. So this is where you would do your tint between step 2 and your keratin booster. So here it is with the tint, and then the keratin booster goes in. At this point, you can still kind of flex their eyebrows around and brush them into place. If you need to do your tint, it's personal preference whether you want to tint prior to their service or after. Wax. So you can do a wax under, or if you like to wax prior to their service, so you can really outline where the hairs fall. But as you can see, we just kind of flex the hairs up, shape them where we want them to be, and kind of go with the achieved look. So here you can see we really got that movement up where we wanted it. So yay, that is an overview of how to do a brow lamination. Let me switch back to my slideshow here. I'm going to present mode. Okay, great. So, oops, we're going backwards. Awesome. We will get to questions, just a couple little bits of information really quick. We do have upcoming webinars. The next one that we have is on the 27th of September, and it's how to effectively boost business by selling lash and brow aftercare. So this is really great. If you are doing laminations or lash lifts, it just goes through with Reflecticil on how to boost a business by retailing. And then on October 4th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we have how to choose the best wax for you, which I love, and Tiffany will be teaching that. So definitely a ton of great information. And to sign up for these classes, you'll just go right to the internet here. Let's see if I can find it. Right to our website, and you'll be able to see. I'm going to skip out of here so I can show you where to find our classes. So on the website, here are all the products for brow lamination. But to find classes and courses, you'll just go right into here. You'll see that there's paid online training. That's the lash lift course that we just did. Here are the webinars, and this is how you sign up for them. And then you'll also be able to find the different online offerings that we have available. So we have another lash lifting course coming up as well, in-person Brazilian training. So different things that you can sign up for on the website. And we'll go ahead and do questions, which is kind of my favorite part about this.
Yay.
Yay, thanks, Wendy.
Yeah, you bet. I'm going to pop back in here. And let's see. So Sarah has a question on if you've ever seen any over-processing with the strip brand.
You can over-process with any brand. If you leave it on there for too much time, it really is just making like the best choices. I do find that I haven't had too many issues with lash lifting. And brows, I've seen probably even, I don't know if I've ever over-processed anyone's brows. Just it is really the time that we pick to leave on them, but I haven't yet. That's a great question, though.
Okay, great. Let's see. Annabelle was wondering if this would be ideal for clients with curly, more unruly brows, more as a relaxer to set the brow down to lay.
Yes. So you can definitely use it in that way, and it'll work. I have a client that comes in with really curly eyelashes on the end, and then really straight ones on this side. So what we do is we use the product to relax on one side and then lift the other. So we at one point used 2 different rod sizes, but we get an even look. But the product can be used to relax because you are making it surrender the shape, whether it's really straight or really curly, and then you're able to kind of work with it.
Okay, great. I think you answered this question during the demo, but they were saying that Reflecticel doesn't use glue and wondering if you prefer to use glue, but you didn't use glue during the demo, so I think that.
Yeah, during the demo, you don't, there's no need. You can just set the cellophane wrap right on top.
Okay. Regarding acne medication test patching clients, especially those that are on acne medication, Annabelle's wondering if you've heard of any experience with skin reactions or adverse effects with those on specific types of medication or products.
I would really be cautious and careful with that. If they're on things that are higher dose or really strong, I would ask them to ask their doctor prior. And then a patch test would definitely be recommended for that as well.
Okay, awesome. All right. Is it recommended to wax the brow a week before receiving the service or after?
You can do it before or after. It really depends more on your preference. It doesn't even need to be that. You can do it the same day. I do a wax the same day.
Okay, great. Janice was wondering if it's okay to apply this product to the end of the hairs. She says she knows some lamination kits you can't apply to the end of the hairs.
This one you can. If you're doing a lash lift, you want to avoid the tips of the brows until, I'm sorry, the tips of the eyelashes, unless you're pulling it through the last like 2 to 1 minute, depending on their hair coarseness. But during the lamination, you can pull it through.
Okay, great. Can this be done on clients with permanent eyebrows?
You might want to patch test on them prior just to make sure. My eyebrows are ombre, and I've done it on myself, and it hasn't caused any problems.
Okay.
But patch test first just to make sure with your client.
Okay, fantastic. Sarah would like to know, what do you do if a client has coarse and fine hair? Will the lamination turn out the same?
Yeah, and it really does go back to like their natural shape of what they have, also how you're shaping and kind of designing their eyebrow at the time, and then also just making the right choice on how long you leave it to process.
Okay, great. Any tips on clients with little or no brows?
So you can laminate them, and they do have actually great results. The tint does help add the density of like thickness or the illusion of density anyway. But I would also do brow rehab with them. So the brow booster, getting them started on that just to help support the natural growth of the hair.
Okay. All right. In the case that the skin around the brows becomes red, irritated, or swollen, what do you recommend to use to help this to help heal the skin? Aloe vera or sunblock?
I wouldn't do sunblock particularly. Like, I would do it probably after, just like maybe a couple days to protect the skin around because it's then compromised. Aloe vera would be really good. Um, Also, you have to kind of wonder, is it an antihistamine? Is it an allergy that's going on? So you might consider like an antihistamine or some antihistamine cream. Um, it could just definitely depend, but that's why we really want to make sure that we're using the skin protectant prior to our service, just to avoid that from occurring.
Right. Okay. Would you consider tinting and brow waxing an add-on to a brow lamination or included?
I do it as an add-on. So this is completely up to you. If you want to price your brow lamination to include both of those services, that's a great idea as well. But if you just want to have full baseline for the service by itself, I think that's a good place to start, and then adding on if they want to get the other services done as well.
Okay. We've got a couple questions on pricing. So
Awesome.
you went over that, but the first question is, how much is the kit? So if you just want to review that real quick.
Sure. So, everything's changing, so just keep in mind that this is the price of the kit at the webinar today. But this kit is $75, which is a great price. You get step 1, step 2, the keratin booster, the glue, silicone pads, and the lash lifting tool. And then this, which would be just either the refill or 4 laminations, is $59. So 2 different options that you can purchase.
Okay, awesome. A couple of questions on how much you charge for brow lamination. I don't know if you maybe want to bring that slide back up, Trinnie, on the pricing, just so people know that it's in the handouts too. So people asking what your typical cost is.
So I live in Denver. I work in Centennial, and I have found that they range from anywhere between 75 and like 95, and that's just for the lamination without the tint. So
okay, great, thank you.
It really does range in your area.
Awesome. All right. Question on the Reflectacil tint. Wondering, Sarah wants to know if the Reflectacil tint works well with this brand.
Yeah, it actually works great. Just make sure that you double check your manufacturer of how much time to use it for. Reflectacil is like 2 minutes if you're doing any type of lifting. So it works great. Haven't had any problems.
Okay, awesome. Where do you do your patch testing?
So I like to do it, so I'll do it on like both sides. So I try to do it like a little bit on the very, let's see if I can get closer to the camera here. Like right here, I'll do a little bit, and then I'll go and do a little bit on the ends, just to kind of check the vulnerability of the skin in both places. But I try to do it on both eyebrows.
Okay,
and it's just
awesome.
a very tiny bit. You don't need a ton, just to kind of see how their skin reacts.
All right, great. Okay, after the brow lamination is done, when can the client wash their face?
I tell them to try and avoid the eyebrows. So if they want to put their cleanser on a washcloth and just go around the face with it and then rinse off gently, avoiding the eyebrow area, they can wash the same day. I wouldn't recommend like the splashing of the water and all of that during the 24 hours that we're asking them not to get them wet.
Okay, great, thank you. Someone would like to know the best advice for aftercare for clients. I don't know if you have your slides up, if you want to go back to the Reflectacil.
Yeah. Also, not just talking about products, but aftercare advice is telling them not any excessive rubbing. You want to make sure you're brushing the hair, and kind of just letting them have that 24 hours. Also to avoid a lot of product around their brows, especially if they're tinted, because if you put a lot of product like in there, it's going to wash the tint off right away, and it could also affect the integrity of the lift itself. And then, of course, going back to the retail products as well. But just in terms of what they can do if they're not getting the retail products, brushing, them into shape daily, and avoiding a lot of product around.
Okay, fantastic. The last question is from Liz. She just wants some training on brow styling and just wants some advice. We don't have anything like that, but we are taking recommendations for upcoming classes. So that would be a really great one for us to add to our
repertoire. So if you have any suggestions for classes that you would like to see us do or cover, you could put those in the chat box too. We would love to have those. we definitely want to be able to offer some different things as well.
Okay, awesome. One more question, since we still have a couple minutes, more questions are coming in. Do you give an aftercare kit with like spoolies to go home with?
I do. I usually just build a little kit for them. The other option that I think is really great to do is add in the cost of the styling gel. And so add that cost in and then just build your price around it so that they feel like they're taking something home with the service. And then I give them some spoolies as well.
Okay, fantastic. Sherry had a question on brow powder, brow powdering or microblading. Maybe that was a question from a previous question.
I think that's about the classes that we could offer, but we don't do
Oh,
it.
got it. I see. That's what
That's
it is.
more of like a state certification, so I'm not quite sure we could do that.
Yeah, I think every state has different. I know that the California office has been able to do those before, but they have to be in-person classes. So wherever you're located, if you're here in Colorado, that has to be done at a school for a certification, so that can't be done here. But we will. One thing we would be nice to do is to have at least referrals for people when they're looking for things like this that we maybe can't offer. So that's a good suggestion that we can put together kind of a referral sheet maybe. Okay, awesome. Well, that is all the questions we have for today, Trinnie.
Yay! Well, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. If you do brow laminations with any of the products, please let us see them. Maybe tag us on Instagram or follow us on Instagram. We have two different ones. We have our California Instagram and then our Colorado Instagram. So please tag us, let us see what you're doing. We'd love to connect that way as well.
All right. Thanks so much for joining, everybody.
Thank you. I'm so happy you were
Hope
here.
to see you in a future webinar.